Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm so happy. I see so many of you chatting in the comments, and I am just so thrilled to see you all here this morning. So thank you for joining me. I know that it is kind of early for some of you, especially the West Coast of New York. And I'm so excited to dive in and tell you all about that. Where is Okay, that should be fixed. I was hearing the delayed echo from, YouTube that I had on my screen to make sure that this was all working. So good morning, friends. I have, some slides to share with you, and we'll talk through a little bit about who I am for anyone who is new to me, and make a hat day, and all kinds of good stuff this morning. So let me share my screen. And actually, before I do that, I just want to say good morning to everyone who has commented. Good morning to Betty and Dee and Judy and Linda and Dee and Teresa says good morning for all from North Florida. And Bill and Linda says good morning from Deep Creek Lake, Maryland. And Vicky says good morning. And Sandra and Carrie and Mary and Jalissa and Heather and Lizzie. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Lizzie, you woke up super early. You're in California. You get a gold star. All right, so let me share my and good morning, Sonia. All right, so I am going to go like this so you can see my whole screen, but I'm still over here. And Suzanne is borrowing her husband's Facebook account. She's usually only on Instagram. And Gloria says good morning. And Sarah and Debbie, good morning from Vermont. Hello, everyone. I am here in New York. We're not sure what season it is. It keeps changing every other day, but it is the perfect time to make a hat, right? This way you have it ready when it is time to actually wear it. So before we go into all of the details, I wanted to just take a moment and introduce myself and tell you a little bit about me for those of you who don't know me. My name is Jessica A's. It is the hardest pronounced three-letter last name. I have my husband to thank for that. And I am the designer and everything else behind Double the Stitches. I often share the story of how I dreamed up the name Double the Stitches one sleepless night when my twins were newborns. They are now 13, but this has been ongoing with them. I realized that if I ever wanted my boys to have handmade things, I was going to need to double my stitches. And so a name was born. And the most rewarding part of being a designer for me is when I get that opportunity to see something that I dreamed up, something that I created, enjoyed, and also created and loved and appreciated by knitters around the world. And I also love teaching others to knit. And I cherish those moments when I get to see my students really, truly just get it and learn something new and add that to their toolbox of yarny knowledge, as I call that. So, in addition to creating knitting patterns as Double the Stitches for you to enjoy, I'm also the host of the Stitch Society membership, my warm and welcoming private signature program where you get access to all of my workshops and events, direct support from me, and also get to build connections and camaraderie through a tight knit group and stitch sessions on Zoom. I also have a pattern club. I'll tell you more about the pattern club later on in our Zoom today. But thank you for joining me. I want to tell you a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk a little bit about why hats are my most favorite projects, where you can find my hat patterns, how you can win prizes, and my next knit along, which starts next week. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And also the Knit Your Own Adventure Summit, which wraps up today, but there are still lots of presentations to watch. So if you haven't hopped on over and joined that, I'll tell you, I'll share my link for you to get a free ticket. You can watch yesterday's presentations and all of today's. So let's talk about why I love hats. Hats are the perfect size. They're not too big and they're not too small, and you can finish one pretty quickly. So there's no long-term commitment here, like with a sweater or blanket. And most of them can be completed with even one skein of yarn if you're knitting it all in one color. So you've got a quick win, a limited amount of supplies involved. I think that they're a playground for technique. So if you want to practice something like ribbing or shaping, like increases and decreases, if you're first learning to work in the round, if you want to learn how to knit color work, lace, cables, different textures, you name it, hats have it. And they're just like a mini knitting workshop all wrapped up into one project because you can, from when you cast on, you can see the finished line. It's not like, a multi-week or month or year sweater project for some of us. And also there's that sense of accomplishment. So you have this quick win, this instant gratification, and there's nothing really like finishing a project to boost your confidence, especially when you're trying a new skill or a new technique. And they're practical and they're functional and they make wonderful gifts and you can wear them yourself. And it's a tangible reward for all of that hard work and practice. You've got something to show for it. You don't have this gigantic, 5-color brioche bobble lace, all kinds of, technique shawl that is on your needles forever. It's, get it in, get it on your needles, cast on, learn something new in a technique if you're feeling brave, and then do some shaping for the crown and bind off, and you have something to show for all of your hard work and to show off or to keep someone that you love warm and cozy as the temperatures start to dip. And they're portable, so you can take them anywhere. You can knit at home, you can knit on the go, you can knit in your mobile yarn studio, in your car, waiting for an appointment to start or to pick someone up or all of that. Anytime you find a bit of free time, waiting, for an appointment in a waiting room, all of those things. So they're super convenient, and I love that too. So I'm encouraging dive into your stash, use that beautiful yarn that you have been admiring but you don't know what to create with it, or stop by your favorite local yarn store, pick up some pretty yarn, cast on, and we'll celebrate this Make a Hat Day together. Let me just quickly check the chat as we go. Carrie says, love making hats. And Sandra says, love smallish projects also. And Heather says, I love hats. I have made so many. And I even taught my hubby Steve to knit, and his second project was a hat. I love that idea. I think that so many new knitters start out with knitting a scarf and they cast on a few stitches and they feel like they are knitting forever, right? Just forever and ever. It is, a scarf and sometimes you only learn to the knit stitch. You don't learn the purl stitch, and then you are more intimidated going into future projects because you only know the knit stitch. You haven't learned anything else. So I don't always recommend hats as a first project, but a great second project. Once you've got that knit stitch down, the purl stitch, it's a great way to incorporate all of those things. And Carrie says, I love making hats in between my more complex projects as instant gratification. Yes, like a little, you know, palette cleanser, right? And Debbie says, I finally found you. Yay. Yes. So usually I go live also in my Facebook groups, but Facebook made a change that made it harder, nearly impossible as I've found so far. I'm still working on a workaround. But so we're here on the Facebook page and also on the YouTube channel. So I am thrilled to have so many of you who have found me so far. If you have to hop off, this will be recorded. So you'll be able to watch it, come back and watch the rest of it. So where to find my patterns, you can find them on Ravelry under the name Jessica-A's, that's Ays. And also on Payhip, if you don't prefer Ravelry. If you don't prefer PayPal, Payhip gives you other options to make it easier to use credit cards or other methods of paying. LJ says, morning, I make hats for my husband who works on the railroad in our cold Wyoming weather. Yes, keep them cozy. And Dana says, I can't join because my son came in as a surprise from college, but I will cast on later today. I'm so glad you popped in. Enjoy the time with your son. And let's keep going. So this is where you can find my hat patterns. I'm going to walk you through a few of them while we are together here. Oop. But I also want to tell you about the prizes, right? I've got prizes for you. So I will list them in the comments, specifically what they are, but finish your hat by this Friday and share a photo to enter to win one of the prizes. So one of the things I'm going to give away is a year membership in my Pattern Club, which is a $77 you would pay $77 for the year, but the value is so much more. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And I am also giving away codes for free patterns, and we'll see what else I can drum up. But finish your hats by Friday and share a photo to enter. In order to be entered, you're going to go into my Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/double the stitches patterns. It's right there on the screen. I will link that for you too. Look for this picture in the group. Add a photo of your finished hat by the end of the day, Friday, by 10 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, because after 10 p.m. I turn into a pumpkin. We're up early to get the kids to school. And I will, over the weekend, I will draw winners for the prizes. I'll be live. We have a wheel of names. And so share a photo of your completed hat, any of my hat patterns by the end of the day, Friday. You can also earn a bonus entry for completing additional hats in the week if you are a super speedy knitter, and also for creating a Ravelry project. And I'll share a video with you in the Facebook group how to create a project on Ravelry. So you get 1 entry for each hat that you complete between now and Friday. They can be any size, because some of my hats have newborn sizes. I love knitting for newborns, super, super quick projects, and you still learn something in the techniques. Not all of them have newborn sizes, but some of them do. So for each hat that you share in this post, you'll earn an entry. And for each Ravelry project you create of one of my hat patterns, there are 12 different patterns I think we're at now of just hats. And you'll earn an extra entry there. So I'll be keeping an eye on Ravelry too. Okay, checking back to see if there are any comments. Morning, found you. I will cast on after this. And Deanna says, wow, that's so sweet. And Carrie says, do they need to be adult hats? No, any of the sizes that are included in the patterns. And I pulled a few of my favorites to share with you. So any of the sizes that are there. And if you don't have any babies to knit for, then there's lots of organizations that collect hats for baby. And Ms. Geo, hi everyone, first time here. Welcome. I'm so glad you joined. So let's, and I'll recap all of this for you in text for anyone in the description of the videos for anyone who missed all of that. So let's dive in. I'll talk a little bit about some of my hat patterns with you all. This is my broken rib beanie. It's a worsted weight yarn pattern. If you're looking on a yarn ball label looking for, there's that little yarn icon with a number in it, so it would have a number 4 on it. CYC on the screen stands for Craft Yarn Council, and that's who created this yarn weight measurement system. So, so a worsted weight yarn, a medium weight yarn. This hat has 3 sizes: a newborn, which is really newborn, like 0 to 2 weeks. It's not 1 month or 2 months. It's a teeny tiny welcome home from the hospital kind of size hat. For most babies, I can't guarantee. Babies come in all shapes and sizes, right? My boys were preemies, so the newborn size would have been swimming on them for quite a bit. There's also a baby size for this at 6 months. And there is also a blanket pattern, not part of this Make a Hat Day, but just so you know, if you're looking to create like a layette set for someone and use the same yarn, there is a matching blanket pattern for this. And if you are a brand new beginner to knitting in the round and you just want to give it a try, I have my variations hat. So you see here, there's 4 different brim styles, the ribbing on the bottom of the hat. It's knit with a bulky yarn, so not super bulky, heavier than worsted or Aran, like a 5 on that scale of, the yarn ball label has a number on it often. And it has 3 sizes, so newborn, child, or adult. And it really is a great first project if you've never knit in the round before, then you want to have something to practice. So you have different variations on the ribbing, but they're all simple knits and purls. So there's a twisted rib, a regular rib, I think it's a basket weave and something else. Sorry, that one, it's been a little bit. I don't remember the fourth, but there are 4, different options there. Jen says blanket pattern too. I love it. Yes. And all right, so let's keep going. I've got a couple more I pulled to share with you all. The Alexander cable hat is a worsted weight yarn. This one was knit using Everyday Merino from Twice Share Cheap, one of my favorite people, and what Dawn is, and one of my favorite brands. And she's got a kit on her website if you want to go that route, or you can also grab it on Ravelry or Payhip. The kit includes the yarn, or just the pattern is available through me. This one has 4 sizes, brand new newborn, like 0 to 2 weeks, baby, which is 6 to 12 months, child, which is 4 to 8 years, and adult. So you've got 4 options there. It's a great hat to make, one for the whole family if you're making holiday gifts. And it's a great project to practice your cable knitting. And my Together Apart hat uses DK weight yarn. So I tried to grab different projects with different techniques and different yarn weights for you all. This also has 4 sizes: baby, toddler, like teen or adult small, and adult large. And in order to create the texture, it actually uses slipped stitches, which is like a gateway to mosaic, because you are, say, knitting a number of stitches and then slipping a number of stitches, but you're not creating mosaic. I think of more as creating a pattern. So mosaic uses slipped stitches, but all slipped stitch patterns are not mosaic, if that makes sense. It's like the square and the rectangle thing, right? If you remember from grade school math. And if you want to dive into color work, this is my Bernie Needs a Hat. It also uses worsted weight yarn. It's only one size, but it is written for your choice of 3 colors or 4 colors. And it doesn't have a lot of long floats, so it's a nice intro to practicing Fair Isle as a technique. And Betty says, the Alexander hat introduced me to you and Dawn. Thank you. Yeah, we've been longtime friends and just really one of my favorite people. Also we have, and the hat Betty was referring to was, we'll go back here, the Alexander. That is this one. Okay. Oh, let me hide your comment since we shared that already. Okay, next up, just 3 more I'm going to share with you. And we have my Ahava hat. So this also uses worsted weight yarn. It is also one size, but it's got tons of texture. So this is the hat. I wanted to knit a hat for my husband, and he is a very, kind of plain guy. He doesn't like a lot of bright colors. So his hat is black. That's how you know I love him. Then I knit it in black. But it's got such a beautiful texture. It has a different type of a brim than just a typical like cast on with long tail or whatever. So you cast on with a provisional tubular cast on method. I have a video for you to help you through that. And it's nice and stretchy. And so it's great for, anyone really in your life, male, female, or what have you. So he doesn't like a lot of, bold colors. So this is the one that I picked to knit for my husband. And also, Betty, I know, I know how you feel about this hat, Betty. This is my Call of the Gulls hat. It uses worsted weight yarn in 2 colors. I used a light worsted weight yarn. I used Blue Sky Fibers for this. It's also one size. If you have mastered brioche stitch, then this is a great next step to learn and practice increases and decreases in brioche. And that's what takes those brioche stitches and changes the way that they move across the hat. So yes, Betty is laughing. Yes, Betty, I helped her through. She did finally finish her Call of the Gulls hat, but it was her first time knitting brioche. We went through my brioche workshop, and this was the we'll call it a final exam. um, and Carrie says, "Oh, yarn, yes. Only for those I love." The tip I found with black yarn is if you put something white on your lap or on the table in front of you. It helps make it easier to see the light through the stitches, and also use a needle that is contrasting. So if you're using black yarn, you don't want to use a dark wood needle. You want to use like a light needle. You know, bamboo would be great. Even a metal needle, I think, would work well. And Angeli says pretty, so welcome. Glad that you were able to pop on and to join us. Carrie says I can only do it with a neck light. So I don't want to keep you all too much longer because some of you I know, oh, there was one more hat. I promise. Last one is the bloom hat, and that leads me into the next thing that I wanted to share with you. So this is a DK weight yarn. It can be knit in one color, or you can use two different colors. It's a great, if you have like scrappy pieces of DK weight yarn, you can use that for the brim and then knit the rest of the hat in another color. It is only adult size, and it uses the Channel Island cast on to create the picots at the bottom there, and then a lace stitch that is not too difficult to knit. So that brings me to the next thing I wanted to share with you all. Today is the last day of the Knit Your Own Adventure Summit. I'm going to share the link in the comments as soon as I am done here. So look for that. If you haven't signed up yet, you can still sign up today. Get your free ticket. You can still watch all of yesterday's presentations will be available until tomorrow morning. And my presentation goes live today. It is it's lace knitting for beginners. So I talk about taking delicate designs and making them simple. I talk a little bit about an introduction to knitting charts. So if knitting charts intimidate you, it's about a 25-minute session. It is pre-recorded, so you can watch it anytime you want. You can pause, you can practice, and I teach you as far as lace stitches, the very beginner basic, knit two together, slip, slip, knit. And I think we did slip, knit two together, pass the slip stitch over. And so it's still available to watch. It's available starting now and for 48 hours, so you can still have time to watch it. Or there is an upgrade, an expedition pass, and you can then get ongoing access. So you'll get all of the presentations from the 4 days of the summit, tons of bonuses from all of the speakers. There's more than 20 speakers that created presentations, and we've got gifts for you. So that is where I want you to go next, especially if you already signed up. I don't want you to miss anything. And then the Seaview Shawl Knit Along starts next Sunday with a kickoff call at 1 o'clock Eastern. I won't make you all get up this early. I just wanted to get this live out of the way before we started with the summit stuff. So if you would like to join us for the knit along, you can find all of the details, sign up for the emails, the links to the pattern, and all of that at doublethestitches.com/Seaview Shawl KAL. And that is the last thing I wanted to share with you all is about my pattern club. So it's something that I had worked on for a while. We're about to celebrate almost a year, actually, of having the Pattern Club. And let me know if any of you have felt this as a fellow knitter. If you find yourself in that position of chasing introductory discounts for knitting patterns, feeling disappointed if you missed that small window of opportunity. Designers typically do that for a couple of days, maybe a week, if they're super generous. But I still wanted to support the pattern, to support the designer, or create that project that I fell in love with. So I'm sure that some of you at least have had that feeling too. Absolutely. Oh, and Jan says she's doing the expedition, and it is absolutely worth it. So thank you for sharing that, Janet. So I wanted to create with the Pattern Club a win-win, a way for you to never feel like that disappointment of missing out on a great deal with my patterns. So I hatched this idea, and If you are always feeling like you are ready to knit more, always want something new, you can save on my patterns. So when you join the Pattern Club, you'll get one knitting pattern a month, which is at least a $96 value, two bonus patterns in a year. You'll get a code to use on Ravelry for additional savings, and first access to sign up for the exciting knit-alongs, workshops, challenges, and events. And the day that you sign up, you get a code that you can use that day on a pattern. So you can sign up today for the Pattern Club and you'll receive a code from me and you can go redeem that right away. So you'll have your Pattern Club membership, but not have to go buy to pay separately for a pattern to be part of Make a Hat Day. And so my patterns are professionally designed. They're reviewed by a technical editor, tested it by fellow knitters of all skill levels, delivered with a code sent straight. This has actually changed since I made this slide, and I'll explain that. So initially I was delivering whatever pattern I released that month directly to your inbox and your Ravelry library. But what occurred to me, I'll make that smaller for a second. There we go. So what occurred to me is that we are all at different points in our knitting journey and in our knitting life, because sometimes I might be releasing a shawl, but you've got a baby shower coming up that you're going to attend, and you would really rather knit a hat or a blanket or anything like that. So instead of giving you specifically what I am publishing that month, you'll have the option to use the code on my newest pattern if you choose, or you can go through. I have 60 patterns, more than 60 patterns published. Number 62 is coming later this month. And so it gives you that option if there is something in my collection of patterns in my portfolio that you would really prefer to knit at that point. You can use that code on Ravelry and you can pick any pattern that works for where you are in your knitting journey or life or any of those things. So I do need to update that slide, friends. And just super quick, because I do want to end in a moment. So the Pattern Club membership, it's a value of over $102 a year for $7 a month, or you can save and get pay $77 a year. So you'll get a code from me the day that you sign up. And let's see if I have the link for that right here. I bet that I don't. um, I'm gonna quickly add it here. Okay. So that's the link to join the club if you'd like to do that. It's doublethestitches.com/club. I try to keep it easy for you all. And yeah, I will, if anyone has any quick questions for me, feel free to ask, let me know, or comment in the group. And I hope that you'll all join me at the summit and you can watch all the presentations. There's not a lot of live stuff going on today, but there are presentations, so you can catch up on what you've missed and join Ashley, who's the host of this summit, the Knit Your Own Adventure Summit. I'm going to share all of those links right now as Carrie says Jessica's patterns are amazing. Jen says Expedition was a great buy. And Kathy says, I'm very happy that I bought the Pattern Club a few months ago. Thank you for offering it, Jessica. Thank you, Kathy. That means so much. Yes, and genius. All right, so let me see if I can grab my link and I'll share it in the comments. And if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to hop off and go watch some presentations with you all. Here's my link coming, hopefully. Okay, so that is my affiliate link as a speaker for the Knit Your Own Adventure Summit. It is free to get a ticket. You will be offered the options upgrade after signing up with just your name and email address. You don't have to take that upgrade offer, but it is there for you. And Dawn says, what patterns work best with hats? You mean types of stitch patterns, Dawn? The link for my call. So I don't have let me know, Dawn, what you meant by that. Oh, yes. So types of stitch patterns really can be anything. Um, oh, for the KAL. Yes, I'll share the KAL link here. Here you go, Barb. And it really can be anything for hats. I like to try to find things that will work kind of easily into to shaping decreases if I can. Otherwise, I go kind of simple with the crown. And it can be anything. It could be, cables, lace, texture, brioche. There's really no limits. If you scroll through Ravelry, you can find hat patterns um, with different patterns. I'll also share here. These are my patterns on Payhip, which is not the same as Ravelry. I don't know that there's exactly a library like there is, or a search feature where you can find all kinds of different filters and things. It's not really a database, but um, yes, so the doublethestitches.com/hats link will bring you to a page of just my hat patterns. I'll share my screen quickly and show you. Sharing screen. Here we go. Okay. So when you go to doublethestitches.com/hats, it's going to redirect you to this page here on Ravelry. So it's narrowed down to specifically to cloche or beanie or toque. Those are just different types of words to describe a regular kind of a hat, as compared to, say, not a beret or anything like that. And so there are some hats that I didn't share, but I tried to share most of them. So you had a nice selection to go with, to different kinds of texture, color work, anything the imagination, anything you can come up with is perfect. Okay. One of the other things in the Knit Your Own Adventure Summit, you'd have to get the Expedition Pass, I think, now to access it. But there was a presentation from one of the speakers about a magic hat maker. And so it is a spreadsheet you can download that walks you through adding a stitch pattern, the multiples and stuff. It does the math for you to create a hat. So it doesn't actually generate the stitch pattern itself. But it does give you the ability to figure out your math for multiple hat sizes and how many rows or how many rounds you need to work and all of that. Dawn says, I got that. Excellent. Yes. All right, friends. So I will update the post and let you know specifically all of the prizes and all of that in the Facebook group. The Facebook group link I will share here in the comments too, to make it easy for you to find. And go cast on. You can share your works in progress in the group, but make sure that you share your finished hat by Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern time to be eligible to win prizes. So thank you to everyone who has joined me today. It has been such a wonderful way to start my day. And I'm headed to go see how much I can fit in to watch from the summit today. So take care, friends. I'll talk to you all soon. Happy Make a Hat Day.